Here is the info weather update on the 2022 midterm elections. Today is Wednesday, November 9th, the day after Election Day. Here's a look at the Senate. As we can see at the moment, the GOP has 48 of the seats. The Democrats hold 46 of the remaining seats. That leaves a few seats up for grabs, 4 of them, in fact. Georgia heading to a runoff, according to the Associated Press, where the gap is just 35,000 with the Democrats in the lead. Nevada and Alaska both expected to go Republican, but not confirmed yet. I mean, Alaska will go Republican. It's just a matter of which Republican it goes to. Arizona, on the other hand, is expected to go Democrat. However, the race has not yet been called by the Associated Press. As we move on to the House, there are still a lot of seats up for grabs, I think around 50 or so. The GOP gaining 3, the Democrats losing 6 so far. And again, a lot can still change as the last several seats get called in this race. As we move on to the governor's race, there are a lot of things going on here. As we can see, many governors elected this year, the GOP losing 2 seats to the Democrats this year in terms of Republican versus Democratic governors within the states. However, we still see that 4 races are yet to be called: Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska. Alaska and Nevada are both likely to go to the Republicans, and once again in Alaska there's a third-party candidate, which this time is nonpartisan, splitting the Democrat vote and thus enabling the Republicans to likely win Alaska as well. However, there is a small gap, very small, in Arizona of just 12,000 votes, with the Democrats in the lead, and in Oregon just 14,000 votes. Both of those around 2/3 of the votes in so far. In Ohio, in my home state, which many of you are from, Governor Mike DeWine continues to be the governor of Ohio come with his next term here by the majority of 1 million votes. It was not really a close race. Maybe it was 100,000. Anyways, the point is Governor Mike DeWine very handily won the election here in the state of Ohio. There were some notable ballot measures this year. There are a few still pending, too. Arkansas wanted to enshrine religious freedom into their state constitution. About half of the people are against that, and at the moment that's the leading result with 89% pending. Colorado is going to decrease state income tax by 15 hundredths of a percent, and that is now confirmed. DC and Nebraska are going to increase the minimum wage. In fact, in Nebraska, it's going up to $15 an hour. Both of those have been approved. Iowa enshrined the right to bear arms into their state constitution, and North Dakota has put term limits on state representatives and governors. There's a couple other things still pending. Nevada raising their minimum wage to $12 at the moment is currently winning, and Nevada is contemplating implementing ranked choice voting. At the moment, that is also winning. Oregon wants to enshrine the affordable health care as a right in that state. Again, it's about half the people at the moment. That is expected to fail. However, a lot of things can still happen with a solid chunk of the population not having their votes recorded yet. In Ohio, both Issue 1 and Issue 2 passed, with bail having to consider public safety now, and voters have to be citizens on the state level. On the federal level, that's already a law. On the state level, it continues to be a law, with both of those measures passing, with over 3/4 of the population voting in favor of it. The 2 main issues or recurring issues I saw this year were, unsurprisingly, abortion and, surprisingly, slavery. Louisiana has wanted to ban slavery as a criminal punishment, and for some reason, only 40% of people think that's a good thing to do, and 61% of people think slavery should still be a thing in the state of Louisiana. So that's unfortunate, but luckily Tennessee and Vermont have the opposite opinion, with overwhelming majorities thinking that slavery is bad, because it is bad, and get rid of it even as a criminal punishment. The state of California has enshrined the right to abortion in their state constitution with 65% of the vote. Michigan doing the same up until viability only, and that gets 56% of the vote. In Vermont, they call it the right to personal reproductive autonomy because, why don't we call it the right to kill babies? Yeah, so most people are for that in Vermont. In Montana, speaking of the right to kill babies, Montana wanted to require medical care to infants who were born alive, maybe, but not necessarily due to a failed abortion. So infants require medical care. That seems like a pretty reasonable thing. No. 52% of people say no, that's not a reasonable thing. I don't want to believe that. And so infants now don't have to have medical care given to them, which is highly unfortunate in a red state like Montana. And then in Kentucky, they wanted to say the state does not give the right to the abortion. Doesn't outlaw abortion. It just says the state does not have the right. Like, you do not have the right to abortion. It's the way I read it, at least. It means that it's more of a privilege that you have or can have. And 52% of people said that there is no right to abortion, and there is not no right to abortion. So they disagree with that. But thankfully, and this is really hopeful news, that 48% of people, or somewhere in that neighborhood, think that there is no right to abortion, because newsflash, there is not a human right to abortion. And so anyways, those are the main things from the 22 midterm election. I'll be back in 2024 to cover the presidential election, just like I did in 2020. Here's a look of our coverage from that. I expect to do something similar here in the next year. That's all for now. Chris 6 and 4, Catholic.